Hello, boys and girls, men and women, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to see you today. The topic of our webinar is echo questions, or we can also call them follow-up questions or short questions. Well, everybody calls them different, but they are all about the same. So I will write here echo questions. You notice echo. Echo is when you're in the woods and you say like hello, and you hear hello, hello, hello. Or if you like look into the well and you say hi, and you hear hi, hi, hi. So this is echo. And actually, from its name, you can understand. Well, I mean, not you can understand, but it will help you to understand how to use echo questions. There are different types of them, and I would like to pay attention to all of them. The first one, give me a second, I will get my page with examples. Okay, the first one, we create echo questions using WH word. For example, I say his name is Tokasani. It's a Japanese name. And the person says his name is what? It's like you repeat. I mean, how to create this WH question? How to create echo question using WH word? Instead of the word that you haven't understood or haven't heard, you say what or who or where. For example, we are going to the cinema, and the person says, "You're going where?" So like that. Okay. So I will write you his name is Tokosani. Tokosani. And this is like a dialogue, and you say his name is what? And create a question. Or we are going to the cinema. But the person doesn't hear that you said to the cinema, so you say you are going where? And that's it. So this is like AB, and this is AB talking. This is how we create echo question very easily. Instead of the words that we haven't heard or haven't understood, we use our question word: where, who, why. I met George yesterday, and the person says, "You met who?" And so you repeat just the sentence, but instead of the word that you haven't heard, haven't understood, or you want to make sure that you heard correctly, you use our WH question, WH word. It's one option. Another one, let's look. We have here when the person talks and you want to show him a surprise. It's called usually a follow-up question, but I will write you like really question. Really or okay, maybe. Okay, question, like this. This is the type. For example, we have here a dialogue. Let's look at here. I left school when I was 14. For the person, it's a surprise. So he says, like, really? He wants to express surprise. Surprise, sorry. So when you want to express surprise, you can of course say really, but sometimes you can say short echo question or echo or short question. In this case, we identify auxiliary verb. It will be past simple, so we need to use did. And then we say, did you? And that's it, very easily. Another dialogue. Carol has decided to move to another country. You are surprised. Of course, it's surprising news. So you say, has she? Again, you identify auxiliary verb. After identification of this auxiliary verb, you put it at the beginning and then you put our subject. The subject in the form of pronoun. In this case, Carol is she, like I is you. It's easy. Be careful if our sentence is negative. For example, I can't watch horror films, horror movies. And the person who is surprised about this, he needs to say, can't you? It's like, oh, really? He's surprised. He didn't expect that. That's it I have to say about echo question. So either you use WH word when you haven't heard what the person said, or you use our auxiliary verb and pronoun to express a surprise, or to express that something is new for you, or that something you didn't expect. Such questions don't require answers. It's not necessary to answer them. You just use them to let's say to continue the conversation, to make the conversation flow. That's it. So you don't need to answer the question if somebody asks you, and if you ask this question, you don't expect the person to answer it. I guess that's it. Let's move on to practice. I hope you understood that. So in the first part, you just need to use the WH word to the question, instead of the word that you haven't heard, haven't understood, or you want the person to repeat one more time. The second type, this is when you want to express a surprise or some news that astonished you. And in this case, you have to be more careful. You have to use auxiliary verb that was used in the previous sentence, which surprised you, and the subject of the sentence using pronoun. If the sentence is negative, so the auxiliary verb that you will use in your surprise question, in your echo question, will be negative as well. Well, I hope you understood that. Let's look at the practice. Give me a sec, I will switch on the PowerPoint presentation and show you some sentences which you will need to create echo questions. Just a sec. All right, I'm ready. So, echo or follow-up questions or short questions. What do we have here? First of all, I would like you to, we have here, and he has got beautiful blue eyes. We need to create a question to beautiful blue eyes, let's say. And can't dance. We need to create a question to what she can't do. We need here, this is the first type of echo question where we use WH word. This code belongs to Abby. We need to create the question about Abby. Daphne got married last year. We need to create the question about last year. And I met Dave in France. We need to create a question about France. I will give you a minute or two to think about, and after that we will check. I guess you're ready. Let's check. So the first one, he's got beautiful blue eyes. He's got beautiful what? like, like what? Surprise. Or we didn't hear. And can't dance. And can't do what? We are surprised about this. This coat belongs to Abby. This coat belongs to who? Daphne got married last year. Daphne got married when? And I met Dave in France. You met Dave where? As you can hear, I make the stress on the words, on WH words. This is important one. When you ask this question, you don't use the structure of the auxiliary or the structure of the question. You don't put auxiliary verb at the beginning. You just use the WH word, and when you create the question with it, you need to make the stress on it. So in this case, we have here what, who, when, and where are stressed out. Remember about that. The next slides, you will have a simple task. You have here sentences. You need to create short questions to them. He'll bring his wife, and you need to ask to express a surprise, like to say, really? Again, I'll give you a minute to think, and after that we will check. So I suppose we shall check. He will bring his wife. Will he? But oh my god, we are surprised. Lisa has just had a baby. Has she? I haven't eaten Chinese food. Pay attention, it's negative sentence. So how to create a question? Haven't you? There isn't any milk in the fridge. We have here construction there isn't. So it's used in the question. Isn't there? Because it's a special construction. There is, there are. And when we create questions with them, we need to use them as auxiliary verb and as the subject, these two words. I don't understand this sentence. Don't you? Again, surprise. Let's move on. Again, you need to create the questions, short questions, please. Ready? Let's check. Those shoes are too big. Are they? You hear that the intonation goes up because we express the surprise. Your friends won't come tomorrow. Negative sentence, and we have here will not, so we use it in our short question. Won't they? They were on the same plane as us. Were they? You are not busy tonight. Aren't you? Prince Andrew and Sarah are divorced now. Are they? We are surprised. And the last one. Again, we have here some sentences and think how to create it. Short questions to express surprise. Ready? So look, that's the president. Is that? We are surprised. Didn't expect that. They live next door. This is maybe a tricky one again because we don't see here any auxiliary verbs. But as you remember, if you don't see any auxiliary verbs, first of all, watch our webinar about auxiliary verbs. And second of all, if you don't see any, then it was do. And in this case, we will say do they. Dorothy lost her purse last night. Identifying auxiliary verb will be did because it's past simple. We have here lost. So did she? Tom can speak Welsh. Quite unusual, I think. So can he? And the last one, I must go. Must you? We can change, by the way, I and you because it's logical. It's quite easy to understand, I suppose. All right, guys, I think that's it because it's very easy to practice and there is nothing difficult at all. I will close the PowerPoint presentation. You can check your answers and I will make now the conclusion again to repeat everything what I've told you. So, echo questions can be two types. The first type is the question in which we use WH word. Who, where, why, when, what, which, whose, whom, and so on. Even how is also possible. Like he drove fast here, he drove how, and like we are surprised. So we have here that it's very easy to create. We just repeat the same sentence that we have heard, but instead of the word that we want to be repeated or that we haven't heard or that we are surprised to hear, we use our WH word. It must be just the right one. Who, what, where. Another way to express, to use echo question, this is when we want to express like really, our reaction, really reaction, our surprising reaction. And in this case, we hear a sentence, we identify auxiliary verb that was used in this sentence, we use it at the beginning, and after that we use a pronoun as the subject of our sentence, which we have heard before. So, I left the school. Did you? Did comes from left. It's past simple. And you comes from I. Carol has decided to come. Has comes from has. It's present perfect. And she comes from Carol. I can't watch horror films. Can't comes from can't. And I comes from you. If our sentence is negative, the short question must be negative as well. Well, use them. They are really very nice, and they really make your speech better. You sound like a native speaker, let's say, when you use them. Thank you very much for your time. I hope the information was quite clear. There is nothing difficult as for me. If you have any suggestions about the topics that you would like me to explain you can write in the comments. I will be happy to prepare something special for you. Have a nice day, guys. Bye.